This article first appeared on the Brookings Institution site. The conventional wisdom is that although Donald Trump's job approval is mired at historic lows for a first-year president, his base, especially the white working class, is sticking with him. But a survey released earlier this month suggests that even his most ardent supporters are beginning to express doubts about his presidency. Daily emails and alerts get the best of Newsweek delivered to your inbox. The Quinnipiac survey found that only 43% of white working-class voters approved of his job performance, while 50% disapproved. The intensity of the disapproval was surprising. Fully 43% disapproved strongly, compared to just 29% who approved strongly. To be sure, majorities of white working-class voters continue to say that Mr. Trump is a strong and intelligent person who cares about average Americans. More than half approve his handling of the economy, terrorism, and immigration. On the other hand, majorities now believe that he is not honest, not level-headed, and not a good leader. 50% say that he does not share their values. 52% think he believes that he is above the law. Supporters at a rally with Donald Trump on June 21, 2017 in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Scott Olson Getty: the healthcare fiasco has hurt not only congressional Republicans, but also the president. 53% of white working-class voters disapprove of Mr. Trump's handling of healthcare. This represents a judgment on the substance of what he is trying to do, not just the style. Only 32% support the Republican plan to replace Obamacare, and fully 66% reject any attempt to cut Medicaid, which candidate Trump said repeatedly that he would not do, but the House Republican healthcare plan would do. White working-class voters seem to have been following developments in the White House staff pretty closely, as well. 58% say they would not want to work for Mr. Trump. Nor are they as enthusiastic about his unorthodox style as many commentators assume. 65% say that he should stop tweeting. Only 35% of white working-class voters say that his presidency makes them feel proud, versus 44% who say that it embarrasses them. For the electorate as a whole, it is much worse. 26% feel proud, 54% embarrassed. Mr. Trump's troubled relations with other key officials, including members of his own cabinet, are not helping. Solid majorities of white working-class voters disapprove of the way he talks about Attorney General Jeff Sessions and reject the idea of firing him. 61% believe that Special Counsel Robert Mueller, the longtime director of the FBI, will conduct a fair investigation. 62% believe that firing him would be an abuse of power. 54% say that the Russian government interfered with the 2016 presidential election. 51% say that Mr. Trump is not taking the investigation into this interference seriously enough, and 49% think he is attempting to derail or obstruct it. Remember, those numbers are among white working-class voters, the president's base, which gave him 2/3 of their vote just 8 months ago. And of course, the numbers for the broader public paint an even more grim picture for the new president. If I were a Republican House member in anything but an absolutely safe district, I'd be worried. The Quinnipiac survey found that 52% of voters want to see the Democrats take control of the House after the 2018 midterm elections, versus only 38% who want the Republicans to retain the control they have enjoyed since 2010. An earlier ABC Washington Post survey yielded identical results. Other surveys have indicated smaller but still substantial Democratic margins. If the past is any guide, an edge of 7 points or more in the national House vote would be enough to produce a Democratic majority. For congressional Republicans, much depends on their ability to regroup after their health care disaster and enact high-profile legislation that average Americans actually like. For the White House, everything depends on the new Chief of Staff's ability to gain control over his staff, and on President Trump's ability to gain control over himself. William A. Galston holds the Ezra K. Zilker Chair in the Brookings Institution's Governance Studies program, where he serves as a senior fellow. A former policy advisor to President Clinton and presidential candidates, he is also College Park professor at the University of Maryland, Brookings.